Oh. No estoy aquí, yo no estoy aquí. Así. Hello, I am. Hello. Ah, no. I am.
Hello.
Hi. How are you? Hello.
I'm good. Yes.
We are now live. So I'm gonna greet everyone in Spanish first. Bueno, buenas a todos. Bienvenidos a la última emisión de La Caverna del Gecko. Hoy tenemos una invitada muy especial. Bueno, todas han sido muy especiales, pero pues en especial Emily como Millie estudiaron conmigo cuando estábamos en Vancouver. Entonces pues tengo pues un aprecio muy especial pues por ella y además es una mujer muy muy talentosa. Entonces pues no sé, o sea, yo tengo muchas dudas con respecto a este stream porque no tengo ni idea de cómo hacerlo. Bueno, pero antes de todo eso, la Caverna del Gecko es una iniciativa que creamos con Tan Grande y Jugando, Colombia Women in Games y Women y Game Jam, pues como el pre-jam, en el cual queríamos crear un espacio en el que pudiera mostrarse muchas personas, sobre todo mujeres artistas del audio para videojuegos. Entonces, pues nada, nació para eso y continuará para compartir conocimiento de audio para videojuegos. Y pues mi pregunta es, quisiera saber si, cómo quisieran ustedes que están ahí presentes, eh, pues la entrevista, porque pues podemos hablar todo el tiempo en inglés o puedo hablar un rato en inglés con ella y luego hablar en español porque ella no habla, no habla mucho español, algunas cosas se entenderá. Em, so you don't feel ignored. I'm telling everyone what I told you that I've never done that. So I want to know if they want me to translate everything that we are talking about, or just we can talk in English and that's okay. So yeah, let's wait so they can decide a bit. And
Okay.
I was also telling them that I studied with you as well as with
Yeah.
Millie, and that's why I have a really very special spot in my heart for you,
Ah.
for you both. Uh, so yeah, what I think what we can do is just wait. We can I don't know. Pues lo que puedo hacer es que cogemos y hablamos un rato y yo digo como cosas así especiales y el que está aquí al lado mío me ayuda a ver si se me escapa algo. Eh, so we're going to like vlogs. So we talk a bit and then I say like spotlights of that, and then we'll see how it comes.
Okay.
So nothing. I'm really excited to have you here. So this is your space.
Yeah.
Just tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you? Hi.
Sure.
Hi.
Yeah. So, hi. um, I let's see. I started working in sound, I guess about 4.5 years ago. Well, in game audio. Before that, I went to VFS with Juan, and we were there for a year. And after graduating, I did some like ADR film sound work, and before that, I was doing. I was in Toronto. Right now, I'm in Vancouver. But yeah, I was in Toronto for university doing new media. And that's kind of where I learned about sound. But let me know if you want me to stop,
No, no,
pause at any moment to
that's
translate.
okay.
Yeah, I hadn't really ever considered doing games because I didn't really grow up playing games too much. I played The Hobbit and Guitar Hero.
Okay.
I was really good at Guitar Hero though. but I kind of always, it just never occurred to me because I thought that people in games must be really into video games.
Okay.
And I like the storytelling part of them more than the actual game part.
Okay.
I mean, both are good.
Yeah, they are linked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a lot of the possibilities haven't really even happened yet. Like there's so much that I think we can do with them, and
That's true.
find that exciting.
Yeah, let me just pause there and I'll tell them very quick because you said something very important, I think. Entonces, nos cuenta que ella, pues bueno, estuvo un tiempo en Toronto estudiando. Ahora mismo está en Vancouver. Ya estudió pues cosas con respecto a los medios, como el nuevo media. También estudió en Vancouver Film School. Y estuvo trabajando un poco como en ADR, en doblaje, un poquito de reemplazo de voces cuando los actores a veces necesitan ir de nuevo como a regrabar líneas de las películas, y en cine en general trabajó un tiempo. Y pues ella dice algo que me pareció muy importante y chévere, que es que ella realmente nunca había pensado en que iba a hacer sonido para juegos, porque pues ella no creció mucho jugando, solo jugaba como Guitar Hero y El Hobbit. Y entonces, pues ella creía que para dedicarse a hacer videojuegos uno tenía que de verdad estar muy metido en lo de los videojuegos. Entonces, pero pues ella siempre le ha gustado mucho la narrativa, y pues como que en los videojuegos ha encontrado que hay un montón de posibilidades que no han sido exploradas. Entonces le parece pues muy interesante la parte, sobre todo la parte narrativa, más que la parte pues de la jugabilidad del juego o del juego como tal. Y ya, continúo.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were saying that you never imagined that you were gonna do video games. You just so.
Yeah. So there was one program in my class that was sound design, and I think the first thing I tried was Foley, and I really enjoyed that, and it kind of inspired me to look beyond that school because we didn't cover a lot of sound design. And so yeah, I moved across the country and was expecting just to stay for the 1 year, but 5 years later,
Yeah.
I'm still here. And yeah, so I'm now working with Shell in the Pit, and we mostly do indie games. We're a studio of 9 people. We have a couple people that kind of focus on audio programming, and then Gorod, who does the business stuff and music and also sound design. He does a lot of different things. And the rest of us just do sound design. Millie and I are both sound designers there. I guess I'm doing kind of audio direction now too. So I'm working with a few like newer people that we've hired and contractors, and just kind of, you know, giving feedback on their sounds and making sure the game has a cohesive sound to it.
So how you end up being like a creative director there?
Yeah, so since when I first started, it was just Gord and I, and then we quickly hired 2 more, and we were about 5 for quite a while, and we all kind of worked on our own games and really managed ourselves. Gord was the head of the studio, but he wasn't like too involved in all the different games. He just kind of trusted us to
Very cool.
do good work. Yeah, it was a really great way to start. Also, there was a lot of just not really knowing what I was doing and figuring it out as I went. I started on Wander Song and Night in the Woods almost right away.
Oh, crazy.
And especially Night in the Woods was like
Demanding.
pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
Because it had already a pretty
course.
big following.
Yeah,
when I started.
and so much expectation around the the game.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Crazy.
But everyone.
But I feel like that's a general feeling I've had in game design, like on all the different areas. It's that feeling that you're not really sure what you're doing, but you're doing it and trying to make it work. So it's good to hear that somebody else is also feel the same, because it's not that someone is crazy or anything, but it's just the general feel of building something as complex as a video game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I still feel that 5 years in, like, every new project is figuring out a new thing. So in that way, it kind of feels funny to like direct.
Yeah.
I'm like,
okay, let's do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the experience is very useful to direct anything. Like, maybe you don't know everything, but you have enough experience to realize when to make a decision or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I do think that helps. It did just kind of, as to like how I got to this point. It just kind of happened that I guess it was 1 or 2 years ago now, 1 year maybe, we realized that if we wanted to keep growing, because we're continuing to get more work that we couldn't manage just ourselves, because we make sure that we don't crunch. We're like, we don't work over the hours in the day. We realized that our like flat system of not really having a hierarchy of like
they call that like a horizontal structure company.
Yeah, exactly. We realized that we'd have to change that a bit. So myself and Joey were tasked with being the directors. We'd just been there the longest. And then
Makes
Rachel,
sense.
who came in Rachel, who came in after us and was originally just doing sound design, we wanted her to help with like being a producer, and she had kind of a background in a lot of that organization stuff and turned out to be really great at it, and it's very helpful to have a producer.
Yeah, I guess that might be like a very different point before having a producer and after having a producer, because managing people is very hard, and that takes a lot of energy from everything. Like in my experience, like just dealing with clients and just knowing how to charge, and that is very demanding for someone. So having someone that handles that makes you just worry about what you should be worrying about.
Exactly. Gord, I think, was doing a lot, and I think working a lot of hours, and having Rachel kind of take on some of the things that he was doing, I think has helped him like focus more on what he wants to be doing too, which is really nice.
I forgot the translation part of this. Bueno, pues que puntos, sí. They already said like you don't have to repeat everything that she's saying, but I'm learning they have to. Bueno, pues Emily nos cuenta que donde ella estudió, el Foley fue la que la llevó a interesarse por el sound design, y eso mismo fue lo que la jaló a querer conocer más de sound design, y el mismo conocer más de sound design es prácticamente lo que la llevó al mundo de los videojuegos de alguna manera. Ella estuvo desde el comienzo, ella trabaja en A Shell in the Pit, que es una compañía que se dedica solamente a hacer audio para videojuegos. Y ella prácticamente como, pues empezó a trabajar con la persona que fundó A Shell in the Pit cuando iniciaron, y ella recién salía de estudiar sound design y empezando a hacer sonido para juegos. De una le tocó casi que al mismo tiempo hacer sonido para Night in the Woods y Wandersong, lo que fue pues obviamente muy intimidante y complejo, pero pues ella nos cuenta que pues siempre está esa sensación de que no sabe lo que está haciendo y todo eso. Entonces pues como que igual era muy... Y además había mucha expectativa, sobre todo con un juego como Night in the Woods. Entonces pues era como muy fuerte la presión que había de que se hiciera bien. Pero pues ahí estábamos hablando de que es una sensación muy general en el desarrollo de juegos, como estar trabajando sin saber cómo uno realmente qué está haciendo, y luego al final ver que como que todo empieza a tener sentido, pero como que la lucha es constante. Y nos cuenta que hace poco pues prácticamente decidieron conseguir pues hacer que una persona que hacía sound design se encargara de ser productora también pues de los proyectos que manejan dentro de la empresa. Y eso pues obviamente generó un cambio muy bueno, porque pues ya se podían enfocar mucho más cada quien en las áreas que querían. Entonces pues es lo importante de tener un productor en cualquier proyecto y empresa. Ok, entonces.
It's good. It's helping me learn.
Yeah, it's just like a resume. But you could understand a lot of Spanish, I remember.
Yeah, French because of French, but
Because of French, yeah.
yeah, I'm out of practice listening.
Yeah. So what else can I ask you? So why Foley? Why Foley makes you incline so much about sound design and getting so interested in this world?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I still often just gravitate towards recording my own stuff and like doing Foley. It's not synced Foley in the same way as film, but I think something about recording feels really fun for me. Just like the
act.
art of it.
The act.
And the act. I think like finding or trying to imagine what sound could be used for what different thing, and then going around, and I often walk around my house looking for objects, or like walking outside and hitting things, and I find it really fun to you never know what kind of sound a thing is going to make, and then it always surprises me often.
That's cool. Yeah. I'm gonna resume with that very fast. Yo le pregunté que pues por qué el Foley la llevaba al sound design, y en general es que le gusta mucho el arte de entender para qué tantas cosas se puede llegar a usar un solo sonido, o de imaginar cómo suena algo, y pues eso es algo muy bonito. I'm saying that's something very beautiful, that learning, like having that conscious of everything that is sounding, everything that makes sound, and trying to grab it and trying to imagine what can I use this sound for. Even though that you don't have that specific requirement that at the moment, you say like, oh, this sounds like a robot foot, or oh, this sounds like a so that's something very very specific of the audio people. I don't know. So sometimes we are here with Itzel, and something makes a sound, and that's something that cheers up in a way. So it's something cool.
And it's definitely, I think it's like a way of living that anyone can kind of get that joy from sound, and it just needs like attention.
Yeah.
And people often think like you must always have noticed sound, but I definitely just learned how to. I don't think it's like something you're born with.
No.
practice it.
Yeah, it's sometimes people say like, oh, I don't know anything about music when they talk to me about music or something like that, and they say that doesn't make any sense because even if you're using the bus, you're listening to music. Even if you go to a restaurant, we are born with music around, so it's not real that we are not. It's very hard to be a part of music.
Yeah.
We are always linked in a way or other, even if we can't play it. we can connect and we can do stuff, and also with sound. And that's why I try to encourage people to don't let themselves be blocked by not having equipment or not having the knowledge. Just they just need to be more aware of whatever is sounding around them.
Yeah, definitely. I talk about that a lot too. I really don't think you need any kind of super special microphone or recorder. I used like a little Zoom for a long time, and especially in games, I find like as long as it's not too quiet of a recording, even if there's noise in the background, I just cut the noise out and put it in the game, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's more about the quality of the sound itself.
And you can go very like artisanal with creating sound for games, so you can just process it a lot and chop it and
cut out the
make that
entire
part.
low end.
Yeah, so that's
I do
very
this a
helpful.
lot.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah, I really like to record a lot too, even though I have like tons of recorded stuff without editing. I need to change. But I also love to record, and I put my recorder in water so many times that I'm happy that it's still alive.
I think that it also gives your whatever you're working on a very special kind of like unique flavor, because no one's gonna have those recordings. If you just use like bot libraries, that's good too. You can't record everything,
Yeah.
but it's more like unique to you if you're recording.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Entonces estamos hablando un poco pues de que nosotros creemos que tanto la música y el audio, digamos, es muy difícil que la gente no esté cercana a eso porque todo el tiempo de verdad están escuchando música o audio y la gente, cualquiera podría aprender y pues ser mucho más consciente del sonido alrededor. Solamente es eso, es empezar a tener más atención, a tener más escucha para poder ver todas las posibilidades que hay en todos lados. Entonces hablamos de que nos gusta mucho grabar y capturar como esos pequeños momentos, porque también eso da un color diferente y como un sabor propio a los juegos. O sea, da un poquito más de vida a todo esto que estamos haciendo, y pues nada, es también una actividad muy chévere. We have a question here from Mapedor. Mapedor is the other founder of Perro Viejo. He's asking, what's your process to design a sound? Or what is the process of designing a sound? But in this case, yours.
So that definitely depends on what kind of sound it is. For like a general like SFX type thing, I mean, as to what we were just talking about, I do normally think, can this be recorded first before I go looking? In an easy way, you know, like I have a recorder right next to my desk, and I often just try to make a sound with my voice first, and then if I can't record it, I'll just look in my libraries and build it up from there. And then for something more designy, I usually use Crystallizer a lot. That's my favorite plugin, I think.
I remember that you used that a lot at school as well. Crystallizer.
Yeah, it's great. And yeah, I don't actually use a lot of plugins at all.
That's cool.
I mostly just record stuff and kind of like edit the design. I use Valhalla Vintage Verb and Crystallizer. Those are my two, and then a lot of EQ. And a lot of stretching. I use Reaper, so stretching is...
You do all the stretching directly in Reaper?
Yeah. It just, like, you don't have to put anything on special tracks or anything like in Pro Tools, so it's really easy to just do it on anything without thinking, really. And then like Foley and Foley I always record, even if I have them, because I feel like every game should have its own, like each character kind of should have its own feeling. And then ambiences I actually don't record a lot because they're hard.
Yeah.
It's
really hard to get clean. It is very hard to get clean recordings of ambiences.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Super hard. Something I would love to do though.
Yeah.
Like someday to get. I kind of feel like you might need a bit better gear for that to not have as much noise.
Yeah.
Maybe not though. I don't know. If it's a quiet ambience.
Yeah, it's
if
depending.
It's a loud one.
It's depending also on the place. Yeah. So
yeah.
If you can turn it up a lot, it will be okay.
Yeah. Just need some loud birds.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna see. Bueno. They are asking what is stretching. Stretching es estirar el audio, como agrandarlo o acortarlo para que suene, pues bueno, dependiendo de diferentes algoritmos que hay dentro de los DAW. Usted puede estirar un audio y hace que suene como más lento y más grave, o lo puede achiquitar y empieza a sonar como las ardillitas esas de todas horribles que hay por ahí en el cine. Y bueno, sorry? No.
Sorry.
Go.
I was just gonna say it's better to stretch as opposed to use just pitching because it preserves the quality.
Yeah. Está diciendo que estirar es mejor que solo cambiar el pitch porque mantiene la calidad. Entonces lo que pasa es que cuando uno estira el audio, lo que está haciendo es replicando como si fuera una máquina de cinta. Entonces en la máquina de cinta, entre más lento va, más grave es. Entonces cuando uno estira es como si estuviera simulando que va más lento la cinta. Cuando uno solamente cambia el pitch de algo y no cambia el tamaño, los DAW utilizan algoritmos y hace que suene un poquito más robótico, más como con más artefactos. Better to stretch than pitch, they say in the comments. Yeah, cool, very cool. It's very cool, that approach of not using too much effects. Don't distract me. Sorry. They are asking what is pitch. Pitch es el tono de algo. Entonces digamos el pitch. Si yo digo que voy a bajarme el pitch, voy a empezar a hablar más grave. Si yo voy a subir el pitch, empiezo a hablar más así. Entonces uno en los juegos utiliza mucho, y pues bueno, en el diseño de sonido utiliza mucho cambiar el tono de los sonidos para pues generar diferentes colores, diferentes opciones también para randomizar. Sorry, I'm back.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting because a lot of what you get with effects you can just get with a sound, right? So with Itzel we talk about she stays more time getting the right sound. I get more time playing with sounds to create a sound that I'm like imagining. So it's very cool to see how many approaches you have to create sound.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot that you could do. And it's also something I think that a lot of people before they get into sound think that, I don't know, to me it seemed kind of like a barrier. Like there's a lot of people that are really good at synthesis and all their plugins, and they have so many, and it's like plugins are expensive and I don't know, sometimes it's just not, like for me, synthesis and all that is cool, but it's not really how my brain works.
Yeah.
And you definitely don't need them, I think, to do good sound design.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're doing like a super sci-fi game, but
even though,
that, I don't think you need.
Yeah, even though we have Ben Burt, then how many years ago he created sabers and guns, base guns, with regular elements, so so it can be done too. That's cool. Let me see. No entiendo esa pregunta, a ver, Sergio, perdón. He's asking, oh, like the amplitude?
Pregunta fue originalmente.
¿Qué?
Esta pregunta.
¿Qué?
La del pitch.
No entiendo. Ah, ya. Que si es como la amplitud. No, la amplitud es el volumen. La amplitud es una forma gomera de decirle al volumen. Básicamente. No, he was asking if pitch was like amplitude. And I was saying like amplitude is just kind of a fancy way of saying volume.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was saying. Okay. You were gonna say something? M? Yeah. If you don't remember, it's okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Sorry?
What is your next question?
So what you learned at BFS was enough for you to feel like you could tackle working on a video game, or you really learn how to do it outside of BFS?
Yeah, well, I think it's a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in the question of, do you need to go to school to work in games? I would say no. I don't think you need to do something like VFS. For me, it did help. I think what it did was just make it go faster. So like I could have learned all this stuff just on the job, but being at VFS was like a fast track, and it was really condensed into 1 year, and the teachers were really great,
and inspiring as well.
Yeah, and like being in our class too was amazing to just be around like 15 people who were really passionate about and like all doing the same thing and learning together. And I think it taught me like the fundamentals of sound more than games. I actually went to the program because it was like one of the few that focused in games, but then it was still pretty film heavy, which was still really useful. But I think a lot of the stuff that I learned like on the job after I learned most of the stuff about implementation and all the different game engines and version control and all of that. And it's still like every game is a different piece of software.
Yeah.
I have to learn something new every time.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work, especially in indie games, to like keep up with all the different programs and everything. It's pretty hard, and you're always learning, but it's also kind of nice to always be learning.
Yeah, I always consider people who do video games like NASA scientists. I've seen so many smart, like crazy smart people working on video games and creating amazing stuff, like NASA quality stuff, but in a game.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a few developers, like the developer on a game I was just wrapping up called Eigenfell, Chevy, just wrote the entire engine for the game
It's crazy.
himself. He coded it and then he made the game in it. Yeah, so we had to learn how to work within that. But it is handy to have, like, we used Fmod, so it's handy to have
That's good.
stuff like middleware.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because there's so many things to build on audio. So many things.
Although we've had Greg, who
Mhm.
is the developer of Wandersong and Chicory,
Mhm.
wrote the engine, the like audio engine. So he wrote basically his own version of Fmod within Game Maker.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
amazing.
cool.
Yeah,
It's pretty impressive.
that's very cool. And I'm gonna translate very quick before. And they have some questions. No, pues estamos hablando de que hacer juegos es muy difícil, pero es genial. Que hay mucha gente genial haciendo juegos y cada día hay que aprender, y sobre todo en juegos indies es un reto, que cada juego es un software casi que nuevo, entonces toca aprender muchas cosas, pero pues a pesar de que es difícil también es muy chévere y muy satisfactorio trabajar pues tener un trabajo que le obliga a uno a aprender todo el tiempo y estar como, pues sí, como aprendiendo nuevas cosas y pues sí, viendo de lo que es capaz la gente. So Mapedor is asking, that is one of my questions as well. What is your favorite sounds to make, and which ones are the hardest for you?
Let's see. I think my favorites are ambiences, because I really enjoy being immersed in like a world, and I find it really relaxing to just be listening to all of these natural soundscapes, and it's kind of exciting too to think of ways to immerse other people in a world and like that kind of thing. I also really enjoy doing any kind of voice acting, and like I don't do full lines or anything, but like character sounds. Yeah, and then just general like sound effects with my voice. And I think the hardest sounds. What are the hardest sounds? I guess when it's like a longer sequence, and just like anything that's supposed to be bigger, I can initially feel, I don't know, like intimidated by like if a sound is supposed to be like, because sometimes there's visuals and maybe it's like a big sequence, but then it's kind of relying on sound to make it like really feel huge and majestic or whatever. And I guess when I know something's going to take like a long time on one sound, I can sometimes feel impatient.
Yeah, that happens to me too a lot.
But it's funny because it's like it's all the same, and you know you're doing sound, which is what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's about the scope.
But that's a good thing about not having a company or a workplace where they force you to crunch or to put yourself in bad conditions just for doing what you love, what you like.
Yeah.
That keeps healthy that part, because have happened to me, not because of shitty bosses, but because of shitty boss was me, of having too much work and just get saturated of doing too much work just because I like to do audio for video games. So why not just do a lot and a lot and a lot? But sometimes you have to stop and say like, I haven't created music or a sound just because of the sake of it in years. So what is happening?
Yeah.
Not just
The fun
work.
can kind of get lost.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot with indie games and game audio with people who freelance a lot, because you don't have like any limits
Mhm.
to how much you can work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to limit yourself, and that's very hard. Like it took me some years to understand that I needed to have weekends, for example. That weekends are not just for work, or if I'm gonna work on a weekend, it's just something that I really want and not like work.
Yeah, I think that's a part of like the bigger culture too. It's funny, I often like, I don't feel personally the need or desire to work like past 5 p.m. or on weekends or anything like that, but I often like look at other people who are working so much, and I sometimes feel lazy or something, which is silly because that's not lazy.
Yeah, and that's
But it's hard to. It really is hard to.
it's hard to learn how your brain works, because sometimes I can work a week on a song, for example, or because I say songs because I get more frustrated with music than with sounds, even though that I can get frustrated with sounds too. But I can do sometimes to take me like 2-3 weeks to make one song that I don't really like too much, and sometimes I just sit and in a couple of hours I get the song done, and so it's hard to understand that kind of work on your brain. Like it's not my fault. It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just something that I'm still learning to understand about myself, that allows me to work faster or more efficiently. So it's good to understand that you don't have to work more. You just have to be more efficient on what you're doing and know when you need to stop and have some rest to try again, to just try again with a fresh mind.
Having rest is so important too.
Yeah.
I read a book about creativity that I forget the name of now, but the gist of it was really helpful. That it was just like, not creativity isn't something that you can force, and if you treat creativity with like love and respect, that it'll come to you more easily, and it won't come. You can't like demand that it comes. You have to be nice and like nice to yourself.
Yeah,
and
it's
give
learning to
yourself
love.
lots of, and also I think not just so you can rest and have more energy, but when you stop working and sitting at your computer and go out into the world and like live, that's what will give you, like, the world will give you inspiration to create, and like you'll hear things outside, and like so many different things in the books and movies and games you play can inspire you too. We aren't always the best at following this, but we have a part of our week blocked out. I haven't done it in a while. I need to get back to it, but for just playing games,
That's
because
good.
it's like getting inspiration from other people.
Yeah, we tried to do that a little bit with Ferrovia. we talked about how we shouldn't have like a full-time schedule like a normal. We tend to work 4 to 6 hours a day, and on projects that are like paid projects, and then leave the rest of like the daily hours to work on our stuff. But always having some hours to do whatever we want. If we want to play, to sleep, to play an instrument, anything that we want to do. Because if you don't organize, or if you don't like put a schedule to your rest and your play, sometimes it just gets in the way because everything is organized for work, but everything else is just whatever you can do. But
Yeah.
but I started for a time like waking up before work and just play video games for like an hour, 2 hours, and it was great. It was amazing to wake up with the energy of being already being have played something.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah,
cool.
that's great.
I'm gonna translate. Bueno, es que hablamos un rato largo, pero pues igual ahí están todos los habla escucha, los anglo escuchas, es entendiendo. Preguntaba Mateo que cuáles son los sonidos favoritos de la serie. Ya dice que le gusta mucho los ambientes porque le gusta mucho sentirse que está en lugares y que está creando ambientes, que le gusta mucho el voice acting, pues no tanto como grabar líneas de texto, de diálogo, sino hacer muchos sonidos con su boca, hacer sonidos de personajes, pero pues con su voz. Y dice que los sonidos como muy grandes o que son muy largos o que como que dependen, las escenas que dependen mucho del sonido para ser muy majestuosas, como que es un poco difícil porque intimidan. Entonces, pues sí, eso. Y luego de eso nos pusimos a hablar un buen rato de, pues de la creatividad y del crunch y de cómo de verdad uno necesita descansar y necesita salir y no puede forzar la creatividad, sino que o sea, uno tiene que aprender a quererse un poquito y a querer un poquito como la forma en la que funciona la creatividad de uno y saber en qué momento puede exigirle, en qué momento no, y saber que necesita uno jugar juegos, leer libros, salir, y eso también es parte del trabajo, es parte de la inspiración pues, para poder crear. We have another question from Mapedor. He's asking if you have participated in jams, and if you have, what advice you could give for the sounds of games during jams.
Yeah, I've only really done one real jam. It was the Global Game Jam, and we did it in a funny way. We had, I don't know if you ever did this one while you were here, but we had like a team of maybe 15 sound designers, and we did the games for everyone.
Yeah, it was like that.
And it was really fun. Also a little intense. I think one thing
Demanding, yeah.
yeah, I would say would be not to, like, you know, think of it as something super serious or like important or like have too much pressure on it. And just to have fun with it. I think if you're doing your own game and just want to have sound in there, I would just say to have a recorder if you have one, and like do everything with your voice.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the game, but you can get away with a lot doing that.
Yeah, that's
an example of a game that does that is called Hidden Folks. It does like every sound effect in the game is just someone going like whoop,
yeah,
wah, and all that kind of
that's
stuff.
very cool. And when I hear games that you worked on, I always hear your voice everywhere.
Yeah, it's
very
funny. I often do that because I mean, I think it's a really fun way to do it, but also because it feels like it'll be different. But I think eventually I'm gonna have to figure out a way of changing my voice.
Or new voices that you can make.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a lot you can do with that. And then, I mean, if you are able to team up with other sound designers, I think that's a really good way to do it too.
I'll answer. Bueno, dice que es lo único que ha participado, el único jam que ha participado es en el Global Game Jam. Y ahí lo que hacen en Vancouver es que como es tanta gente, hacen una cosa que se llama el Tree of Audio. Y es como es que se reúnen todos. Y entre varias personas que lleguen de audio, entre todos, bueno, se empiezan a reunir desde antes, pero cuando ya están ahí, entre todos hacen los sonidos de los juegos de para todos. Entonces pues que esa es una manera de hacerlo, pero pues que igual lo que ya recomiendo es que no se lo tomen como muy en serio, o sea que se diviertan más que todo y sobre todo si tienen grabadora pues que graben la mayor cantidad de sonidos que puedan. Que pues casi siempre igual pueden hacer sonidos muchos sonidos con la voz y eso funciona bien. Y un ejemplo de eso que se llama Hidden Folks, que es un juego como un buscando a Wally. Ok. Hello. There's I don't know how to say that in English. There's words that you used when you don't know how to say, like mine is say hello. And someone hey, hola, ¿qué tal? Hola, ¿qué tal? Estamos aquí hablando con M.
Well, I know what that means.
Sorry?
I do know what that one means.
Okay. Hola, ¿qué tal? Yeah, you heard a lot of Spanish. I remember sometimes the Canadian people felt a little how do you say that? Like I don't know if it's stressed, but sometimes we talk too much in Spanish and didn't feel right for people who didn't understood everything.
I loved it though. I
Yeah.
think some of the other people didn't as much, but I miss it.
Yes, it's nice. Right here. Okay. Do you have any favorite sounds that you have made, or a sound that you remember that you made for a game that you really liked?
Yeah. One of the games I'm working on now, Chicory, is all of this paint stuff. And I spent like 3 days recording before I started the game, and I got lots of really good like squelchy, goopy sounds. I put some. I actually did use paint, which I probably didn't need to do, but I put paint and glue together, and I just kind of like put it in my hands, like
sounds messy.
And yeah, it was really messy, but really fun. And I just find goop sounds really satisfying and fun to use. In real life, one of my favorite sounds ever is the sound of bird wings. Yeah, especially ravens, because they have really big wings. They have this kind of resonant sound as they fly. And then also, I quite enjoy frogs.
Frogs are crazy. They always sound different than you expected.
Yeah. But they're great.
Yeah, I love them. And okay, I can talk about that. Sorry. But yeah, cool frogs. That's very nice. Did you record paintbrushes at all for Chicory?
Yeah, I recorded like the sound of brush. The actual, because in the game you kind of paint. It's like a coloring book, and you can just keep painting. So I did like 3 loops, and those were really hard. One of like moving slowly, one medium, and then one fast, and then blended them all together. But
okay,
it's like a mix of paint and a brush on top of it. I think there's a couple layers, but it's those kind of sounds, especially when the whole game is made up of those sounds. I use them in like all of the UI, most of the sound effects, but it's like hard to find a balance, because if you go too far, they can be kind of gross and like yeah, exactly. That's kind of something I think about a lot when I'm doing sound design, is like how I'm making people feel.
Yeah, and with GUI sounds, you can if you gross about it, I just feel it like around here, like I don't know, it's just a small line.
Yeah, no, some people are, I think, more sensitive to it than others. But yeah, I don't ever want to make people feel uncomfortable. There's like, I'm always kind of aiming for it to be pleasant. Like while people are playing, I want them to be relaxed and just kind of comfortable.
So, do you get to choose to work on projects that allow you to do that, or sometimes you have to go outside the box, outside your comfort zone? I mean,
Yeah, I think I've been pretty lucky. I think because I got to start out on Wandersong and Night in the Woods,
oh,
which were both like very soft and like whimsical little games. It kind of like led to another one like that, and
yeah,
it's
that's
been
cool.
really nice. And then there are some, even Night in the Woods had like a lot of uncomfortable scenes and like darker stuff, which I also really enjoy doing. The one thing I do stay away from is any kind of violence in games. I don't. I worked on a few here and there starting out, but now I've just kind of said that like, and that's kind of a nice thing about being on a team too. I've just kind of said that like I'll pass those ones on, and then there's other people on the team that do enjoy that kind of stuff. So
Violence.
we just work together. Violence. Well, as a company, we try not to do any ultra violent games. We have a few that have a little more fighting, but most of the games we work on are pretty mellow.
That's cool. I'm gonna see questions, things. Let me just translate and I'll ask this question. Le pregunté que cuál era su juego favorito, su sonido favorito de los que haya creado y dijo que le gustan mucho los sonidos como de, ¿cómo se dice eso? GUI, como de, I don't know how to say GUI or goopy.
Ah, como
Como-
baboso.
Sí, como baboso, como denso, como... Sí, no sé cómo decirlo, como un slime. Ese tipo de sonidos le gusta, dice que le gustan bastante y que en el juego que ahorita está trabajando, que se llama Chicory, bueno, en uno de los cientos de juegos en los que está trabajando, Chicory es un juego en el que toca pintar y entonces pegajoso puede ser, pegajoso. Y entonces ella, para hacer el sonido del pincel, dice que estuvo difícil porque tocaba hacer loops para que fuera lento, medio y largo o fuerte. Y eso se utiliza dentro de todo el juego. Entonces, pues, como que le gustó tanto como quedó que con eso mismo hizo UI, hizo muchísimas otras cosas con esas grabaciones. Incluso fueron 3 días de grabación antes de que empezara a hacer cualquier sonido para Chicoli. Dice que los sonidos favoritos, no de que haya hecho sino de por fuera, son las alas de los cuervos porque generan como una resonancia bastante interesante. Y pues que en general a ella le gustan son los sonidos suaves, o sea, pues hacer sonidos suaves, placenteros para el oído, como que no le gusta hacer que la gente se sienta incómoda, le gusta que los juegos sean como más para relajarse y ha tenido la suerte de, pues, como empezó haciendo One Night in the Woods y Wanderson, como que la vaina jale un poquito más hacia ese lado. Eh, y, y nada, pues que no le gustan mucho los juegos de violencia, pues trata de no trabajar en los juegos violentos y como empresa tampoco pues trabajan mucho con juegos violentos. Pregunta Berserker, Emily. So Berserker is asking, which one are your favorite video games with the best music? I guess with the music.
One of my favorite soundtracks is Ori and the Blind Forest.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, I like a lot of soundtracks. I really like the Sword and Sorcery soundtrack, and There's one that's really relaxing called The Gardens Between, if you want a really nice, relaxing soundtrack.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see how many. Somebody said, "Can we hear some of her work?" Yes, we can. We will do. Ahorita ponemos un enfoque de eso. So, do you think that, or let's hear that before we go to this. Give me a second. I will get the links. I'm scared. Let me do something first. So how's the interview going so for now?
Yes. No, I'm happy. Pretty good. Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to do something, but I couldn't. Oh, okay, I can do it with this. Just my face. While I look for the links that I forgot to put them here. Okay, so I'm gonna go to that question while I prepare the links. So, do you feel or think that being a woman has influenced in any way of getting a job in the industry or something like that?
I think for me, it didn't feel like it did as much, but it definitely is something that stays with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something I'm kind of aware of all the time, which didn't actually used to be the case. I think I went into games without really knowing too much about everything behind the sexism in the industry. Kind of came in after Gamergate had happened. But yeah, I've kind of grown more aware of it as other people have kind of told me their stories, but my own was pretty clear of that kind of stuff. But I do feel like it's really important that we have a more balanced industry in terms of gender, and I think stuff like this is really important for kind of encouraging other people to come into the industry, women and non-binary people and anyone who doesn't really see themselves represented as much. Because it is definitely, I think, harder to want to do something and then not see yourself represented in that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like the community we have here in Vancouver is pretty nice for that. Is your cat okay?
Yeah. But something that I talked in the other interviews is that what I told you the other day as well, like it's good to also tell people that bad things that happens also don't happen because so many horrible things happen every day that people sometimes are even scared of trying. So it's good to be aware that something is happening and try to change it and trying to build a better tomorrow, I think, for everyone. But it's good to let people know that they also can do it and they won't be harmed and there's also good people, and there's also communities, and there's also people gathering around to learn from themselves, and there's spaces like this growing every day.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's good. And I was telling them, the other people, the other girls, women, that in the game industry is in the industry that I've seen the most transgender people treated like a regular person, like we don't see even the difference, like we talk and we interact with each other without even thinking that the other person is transgender or is X or Y or anything. So
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Definitely. I found the indie community especially to be one of the most inclusive communities I've been a part of. It's full of a lot of really lovely people, and it's very welcoming too. It's tricky because I really, especially because of my experience, has been really positive all around. Like I feel so grateful to be on the team that I'm on, that like really supports diversity, and also a part of the community where like I've just had a lovely time, and I would love to just tell everybody that this is going to be their experience. And I think it definitely can be, but I also there's like a danger in, you know,
Humans.
the other side of it, which is not everyone
Yeah.
does have that experience. But I do think it's really important to know, I agree, that like sometimes it is just really nice.
Yeah.
And I think also, a part of it is about like seeking out the right people and like knowing, you know, who you can trust, and
that's tricky.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's not always a choice, definitely. But there are spaces. I do feel really hopeful about some of the spaces that are kind of coming out now that really support people and like make people who are more diverse feel more welcome. There's one that I would really recommend called the Audio Treehouse. It's for anyone that basically is in any kind of sound but doesn't identify as male, and it's a really nice community where, I don't know, it feels like a really safe space. So if anyone ever is looking for a space like that, it's a good place to start.
That's cool. The Audio Treehouse. I see. That's like a thing. I'm gonna share it in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting close to the end, sadly. Because it's been a very good time. I'm gonna show a little bit of the videos you sent to me, so we can talk a bit about it, and then we can just do one question more, and we can end this thingy.
Okay.
Okay, so first I'm gonna put the Ikenfell trailer. Oh, I didn't translate this last part. Give me a second. I remember. Entonces, yo le pregunté a Emily que si ser mujer la ha influenciado de alguna manera en conseguir trabajo de alguna manera en la industria, y me cuenta pues que ha tenido mucha suerte, que ella cada vez ha sido más consciente de eso por las historias que le cuentan, pero en realidad ha tenido muy buena suerte, y pues hablamos de que también es bueno como hemos hablado en muchas de las otras entrevistas, mostrar que sí hay espacios seguros, que se han creado espacios y que ya existen pues formas de introducirse de una manera más segura en la industria, por decirlo así, en las comunidades. Qué pena es que el gato está botando cosas. My cat is throwing bunches of stuff. Eh, entonces, pues nada, pues estábamos hablando de eso, de que definitivamente este tipo de espacios es lo que se necesita también para que las mujeres y las personas no binarias o que no se sienten suficientemente representadas, pues tengan un lugar para pues ser. So yeah, I'm gonna put the Ikenfell trailer first.
Feeling yellow, scared to make a work of art. I'm destined for a
The first trailer is okay. That comes up in the stream in the Steam page.
Yeah, I think so. If you don't, it might be if it's too long, you don't have to play the whole thing.
I'll play a bit. Let me just see what I'm doing. Bueno, entonces vamos a ver Ikenfell. Este es el tráiler de Ikenfell, que es un juego que justo está por salir pronto. Por si lo quieren agregar al wishlist. En ese juego trabaja Emily y también trabajó Millie. La pongo ahí.
Sometimes I might see red as pants of Santas. But when I'm feeling mad, I grab my paints and grab my canvas. Use my brush to find some answers. Always teaching on this campus or telling tales like mangas instead of beefing like I'm Angus. I focus on my paintbrush, don't need hang-ups like a stalactite. My multicolored paintings act like magic, that's a fact of life. You have to understand this, cause I want us to start acting right. As much as I love pandas, y'all, the world is more than black and white. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. A lot of people feeling scared to save us, like it's a lost cause. But I'm steady brushing off my haters, something like I'm Bob Ross. Go ahead, grab my hand, be patient, and you might live to tell everyone in future generations how we fought for it can fail. Sometimes I get the blues, the news gets me depressed. Then I think about the clues that we've amassed about the past. Unlocking mysteries on mysteries that tell us simple facts. I love listening to history, it acts like little maps. Sometimes I'm feeling green with envy of a boy or girl or envy. Still no other school that Ikenfell I'd rather be attending. Sometimes I am feeling yellow, scared to make a work of art. I'm destined for a medal, must be brave to get a purple heart. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. Let's paint the future real bright with the faith of Martin Luther. It feels right. A lot of people feeling scared to save us, like it's a lost cause. But I'm steady brushing off my haters, something like I'm Bob Ross. Go ahead, grab my hand, be patient, and you might live to tell everyone in future generations how we fought for it can fail. Yeah, yeah, how we fought for it can fail. Yeah, yeah, how we fought for it can fail. Yeah, yeah, how we fought for it can fail. Yeah, yeah, how we fought for it can fail.
Something you wanna tell us about this game? No, that's okay. It's just me trying to do what I think I should say.
It's a great game. It has a really good story. When I first started working on it, the developer Chevy took Gord and I out to a bar and just told us the story verbally over the course of like 2 hours. He was telling us everything, and we were so riveted and like hanging on to his every word. And
Very cool.
he had it like all planned from the beginning, and it's a really good story.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
They don't usually are like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's impressive too because it's pretty long, the game.
How long have you been working on that game?
I think about 3 years now.
Oh,
Quite a while. Yeah.
how you
Yeah.
managed to keep all that stuff organized for 3 years?
It's not.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I have developed a bit of a system now that I think works, where like organizing into, especially Eichenfeld was organized in chapters, so I could just keep my sessions like in chapter folders. But yeah, it's really hard, especially because I started it. So this happened with Wandersong too. I started it so early on. I didn't. Everything was really disorganized when I started, and then at the end, I'm like figured out how to do things a little better. So it's a little all over the place.
Estaba contando que el que hizo Ikenfeld tenía todo ya desde el inicio repensado, re bien pensado. La estuvo ahí como 2 horas hablándoles del proyecto así como de comienzo a fin. Y pues el proyecto lleva 3 años, entonces yo le pregunté cómo hace para organizar, pues mantener organizado de archivos por 3 años, ¿no? Porque pues pasa. Y me dice que pues no está organizado, que se trata de organizar lo más que puede y cada vez está mejor, pero pues que es muy difícil pues obviamente mantener organizado porque pues uno trabaja el tiempo con otros proyectos y todo eso, entonces siempre es difícil el orden. Okay, so now I'm gonna show Chicory,
This is the goopy one.
the goopy one. Yeah, when I first saw the reveal trailer of Chicory, I think I wrote to you because I heard that and I said Emily must be working on this game, and I asked you.
Yeah, I remember.
So I'm gonna play it. This trailer remind me of a question. I love the UI on that game. The especially the text. Oh, sorry. What is that? Is also goopy stuff? What?
Yeah, it's all paint. I think the text is just like kind of goopy bubbles, but cut really short. I often do that for UIs. Take like a voice clip or goop in this case, and just take a like really tiny bit of it.
That's good. A good tip for UI. Now I'm gonna play a Museum of Other Realities. I really love that project.
Yeah.
I got to go when I was in your house. I still remember. I should. Voy a pasar los links que estoy poniendo también. I should put the links I'm sharing. I'm sharing in the comments too.
Yeah.
You can see the words. So, talk to us about a little about the museum. What is that about?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't talked about that. It's a virtual reality art gallery or art museum, I suppose. And it's really cool. It's basically just like a real museum space where you can go and meet people who also have headsets, and they could be anywhere in the world, and you can kind of have a little avatar body and talk to them and
Clap hands.
clap hands. And it's really magical because you can go into the art, not all of them, but many of the art pieces, and like you kind of shrink and you can walk around in them. Yeah,
Let's see a
very
bit.
cool.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. I always remember a very cool experience just to get in there and just walking
Mhm.
around with someone. It's something that I won't forget. Let's see.
The Museum of Other Realities is a space to connect, share, and experience a growing collection of mind-bending virtual art. Step into a painting. Surround yourself with fantastic sounds. And experience art in a new way as you interact, watch it evolve, and take form. Explore the new, evolving collection at exhibition parties. Enjoy the experience with friends from around the world, and make new ones in a gallery you can visit from anywhere. Join the community of explorers and artists who are creating a new kind of immersive art showcase in the Museum of Other Realities.
It's cool. Gonna translate that. Wait. Téngame paciencia, señora. Por favor. Bueno, estábamos viendo el MOR, que es un museo de otras realidades que tiene como diferentes instalaciones y uno puede entrar con mucha gente en tiempo real y tener reuniones y pasear por el museo y no solamente ver las exhibiciones, sino que algunas pinturas uno puede meterse dentro de la pintura y andar por ahí y conocer. Y pues también hay instalaciones de audio y hacen como reuniones y todo para estar ahí y hablar y la gente uno puede chocar las manos con ellos y brindar y un montón de cosas. Ilu Black is asking, how many people are in charge of music and audio normally?
It varies per game. We're working on a couple of bigger games now that have maybe 4 sound designers on it. But normally, I mean, for the first couple of years, it was just one person doing everything. All the sound design, and then Gord often did the music. But now that we have our new structure, there's usually one audio director and then 1 or 2 sound designers. And then Gord's still the only composer in our company, but we often like contract out. But it's usually only 1 musician per game.
Makes sense. Bueno, que usualmente Preguntan que más o menos cuántos hay en cargo de la música y el audio normalmente y él dice que ahorita hay un par de proyectos grandes que hay 4 diseñadores de sonido y hay, pero que generalmente pues es un compositor y lo demás un par de diseñadores de sonido o un director creativo y un par de sound designers. Y pues que al comienzo igual era solo una persona haciendo música y una persona haciendo diseño de sonido. Pero aquí en Latinoamérica casi siempre somos uno o dos. Casi siempre es uno o dos. Cuando hay más, pues es como un caso muy, muy, muy especial y se siente. I was saying that here in Latin America it's very, very hard to see more than 2 people in the audio department. So,
Yeah.
so yeah.
We have had a couple games where it's been the sound team has been bigger than the devs, the dev team.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. I like that. I'm gonna show the other one. The other one is Untitled Goose Game. Let's see and let's talk about it afterwards. Ay. Oh. Ahora vamos a ver el tráiler de Untitled Goose Game, que es otro juego en el que trabajo en... So that game is so so fun.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
People play it on Twitch after it came out.
And did you had any strange or goose adventure while doing sound for that? I guess you recorded a lot of geese.
I actually didn't, but I recorded probably 95% of that game, and the goose is the one thing I did not record,
Okay.
which I was kind of sad about because I was excited about recording a goose. But then I found one in Mattia Chelado's
Okay.
animal libraries, and it was perfect. So
Yeah, his libraries
I
are
just
so
used
amazing.
that. Yeah, they're so good. I love
good.
them.
I use them in mostly of my things. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say? Sorry, interrupted.
No, most of the recording was just like dropping objects on the ground.
Did you break too much stuff?
I did break a glass or two by accident.
By accident.
There's actually a recording of me.
Oh, on
You
SoundCloud.
can, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like
I've heard
dropping a
that.
glass, and my partner says something like, "That's gonna break." I'm like, "No, no, it won't." And then the next drop is just like you can hear the smash.
I will share the other one so we can just talk this last question and then we can go.
Yeah, that one, the Night in the Woods one, is
Yeah.
not really a trailer or anything either.
Estoy compartiendo un video que nos compartió Emily, que es como unos highlights de, como unos resaltados, ¿cómo se dice highlights en español? Unas menciones,
Cosas importantes.
cosas importantes, momentos importantes de audio de Night in the Woods, como cosas chéveres, y ahí se ve un poco de la implementación de Fmod y todo, porque Night in the Woods se hizo en Fmod.
It's not too important though. It's just random pieces
It's okay.
of the
Y que no son
game.
tan importantes para que no se ilusionen. I told them so they don't put their expectations too high. But it's gonna be amazing either way. Okay, so last question. Oh, what would you do to encourage more women to participate in game development or in these communities or in these spaces? What do you think it could help encourage that?
Yeah, so I think it's really needed to have a more diverse group of people in sound, because I think it's a really kind of like overlooked area, and it can do a lot of good to have not just more diverse people, but more diverse like ways of working in it. And I mean, I think that comes with having more diverse people. It's, you know, I think we have too many of the same game, and there's so much we can do. And I think right now is a really great time, if you're interested in it, to like look more into it, because there's so many really cool games coming out that are kind of, you know, more different and are speaking to different perspectives. And, you know, there's a lot of new indie games coming out now that have like the main character is female, and that didn't really used to be that common, but it's getting better, and the more people join in, the more it'll improve, because everyone kind of adds to it and expands, you know, pushes the boundary out a little bit into something that's more inclusive. So I think it would be really great.
That's cool. It would be great to see Latin American developers or local developers. How do you say that? Apostar? No.
Bet.
No, pero no bet. Like the having more importance on sound and having to hire a company, even though if it's a shell in the pit or if it's local people, but that really, I always say that really changes everything. That really put us at the same spot as other countries in quality. One of the most things that I've seen is that you can see a game that looks very good in Latin America. They can do amazing stuff, but then you start playing and you feel like all the immersion is cut because sound is so. If it's generic, we are lucky. If not, it's just bad sound. And it's because people tend to see sound as a decorative part of the game instead of a core structural part of a game that I think it is. some people are changing. Some people that I've worked with even let me build documents conceptualizing how audio is gonna be in that world, how it's gonna be implemented. Even though I'm not gonna touch the engine, I can do that, and I can help them. The only thing that they need
Yeah.
is to let us help.
I think it's really important to have that attitude too, though, of like, sometimes there'll be developers that won't want to give it the attention, and like they just won't have as nice of a finished product. That's fine. But I do think most people are willing to listen. And I've noticed for a while, one of the main attitudes that people have in sound design is this like a bit of like a grumpiness about being less important. But I think it's like really good to, it can get frustrating, but just to kind of put that aside and try to educate people yourself and like not to talk down about sound, and instead just talk about how important it is, and like what you said, like make documents and do all that stuff. That's been really successful in my experience. Just like if you're excited about something, other people often are as well.
Yeah, and if you can show them, they will definitely see it. They won't. It would be hard for them to not see the difference of something sounding good and something not sounding good.
Yeah.
And like major titles are spending a lot of money in audio as well. They know that that's as important. So why won't we do it in indie as well?
Yeah, I think it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's all getting better
you're way
slowly.
ahead. Yeah, but it's very exciting. It's very exciting to talk about this, to have you here. I don't know if you want to say anything else. I think we might close soon.
Yeah, no, that's everything. I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. And
Really nice.
and if you have up to coming back again someday, and we can talk more about audio or more about anything else or more specific stuff. I don't know. I just would like to people to realize that there's a lot of people like you, like me, that are willing to take a moment of their lives, even if they're busy or not, just to share the little or the lots of knowledge we have. To share. We are not that kind of artists that are like, oh, we have a lot of secrets and everything that we do is very secret, so that's why it's good. So we won't share it. So we share a lot, and that's very cool, and I think we can do. They are asking where can they follow you?
Probably Twitter. And also on that note, if anyone wants to reach out to me on Twitter, that's cool as well.
Let me find your Twitter to share it.
Yeah, it's Audible.
Audible.
Handle. I'm not signed in to Twitch, so I can't put it, but
no worries.
I guess I could log in.
La pueden seguir aquí en Twitter como Audible. So yeah, I don't know if you I asked you already, but thank you. Thank you very much. It was really fun to talk to you. It's been a long time since we talked, so it was very good to talk to you about sound. It's always exciting. I really appreciate a lot what our experiences together. We did a lot of crazy recording. We went out in the park at 1 a.m. in bicycles, just in the dark, trying to
and then threw rocks
through rocks. And we also you got a working printer, and we tear it down with golf clubs and sticks. And have you used those recordings at all?
Yeah, I think I had the typewriter, right?
No, but you remember the printer? You got a printer from Craigslist, and then we just went
Oh.
and started breaking it.
Yeah. I think I still have those. I don't remember though where they are.
Yeah, I don't know where they are either.
But I definitely have the typewriter.
Yeah, I have that too. But yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you later, someday, some
Yeah,
other day.
thank you.
Thank you, and
Yes.
say bye to
Talk
the
to you
Colombian
soon. Thank
people.
you, everybody else.
Bye. Gracias a todos. Entonces, bueno, gracias a todos por estar aquí. Ojalá que pues sigan volviendo. Este espacio seguirá funcionando de pronto, pues después, por temporadas tal vez. Y pues la idea es esta, seguir trayendo gente de audio, hablar del audio y, pues aprender todos un poco y cada vez mostrar qué tan importante es el audio. Y por último, antes de me quería promocionar esto, pero se me olvidó. Esta camiseta que estoy estrenando hoy es de Maldita Republic. Y estas camisetas las está vendiendo y todo lo está donando para el zoológico de Santa Cruz, que ahorita pues por el COVID y todo eso, pues está redenso. Entonces pues si quieren pues lo pueden buscar ahí. Itzel me hizo el favor de compartir, lo pueden buscar y pueden apoyar pues comprando su camiseta y apoyando al zoológico también. Entonces, nada, muchísimas gracias a todos y nos veremos en una nueva ocasión. No se les olvide Woman Game Jam, ya 21 al 30, ya están las inscripciones abiertas y arranca la otra semana. Pues, bye. Adiós. Bye.